Tae-sung pressed his palm against the scanner and waited. The door to the engineering bay slid open with a soft hiss. He stepped inside and stopped. The room was massive, bigger than anything he had seen back on Earth. Pipes and cables ran along the walls like metal veins. Blue lights pulsed from the ceiling. In the center stood the power core, a giant sphere that hummed with energy. He was really here. Space Station Harmony 7, home to dozens of alien species, and he was going to work here for the next 6 months. His hands felt sweaty inside his work gloves. He wiped them on his uniform. The Korea Space Engineering Corps logo sat on his chest. He felt proud of it. Korea had come so far, from a small country to a leader in space technology. His grandmother would not believe this if she were still alive. "You are the human engineer?" a voice said behind him. Tae-sung turned around fast. Too fast. He nearly tripped over his own feet. Standing in the doorway was an alien, a Valarii. He had seen pictures during training, but pictures did not do them justice. She was tall, maybe 7 feet. Her skin looked like it was covered in smooth plates of dark purple armor, but what caught his eye was her chest. Right in the center, a crystal glowed. It pulsed with soft blue light, like a heartbeat you could see. "Yes, I am Engineer Tae-sung, from Earth, from Korea," he said. His voice sounded too high. He cleared his throat. The alien walked closer. Her movements were smooth and powerful, like a trained fighter. "I am Officer Lyra. I will supervise this project. The Valarii Empire wants to ensure the power core upgrade meets our standards." Tae-sung nodded. He tried to look at her face. She had large eyes, golden in color. No nose, just small slits. Her mouth was thin. But his eyes kept going back to that crystal. It was beautiful and strange. The light inside it moved like liquid fire. "The project timeline is 8 weeks, Lyra continued. "We begin tomorrow at 0600 station time. Do you have questions?" "No. Yes. Tae-sung stopped. He was making a fool of himself. "I read all the files. I understand the work." Lyra's crystal flashed a different color. Just for a second. Orange, maybe? Then back to blue. "Good. Humans have a reputation for adequate engineering. I expect you will not disappoint." Adequate. That stung a little, but Tae-sung just nodded. Lyra turned to leave, then stopped. "One more thing. In Valarii culture, we value directness. If you have concerns, speak them. We do not appreciate hidden thoughts." "Understood," Tae-sung said. After she left, he let out a long breath. His first meeting with an alien. It went okay. Sort of. He looked around the engineering bay. His tablet was in his bag. He should probably review the power core schematics one more time. But he kept thinking about that crystal, the way it glowed. He had read about Valarii biology. The crystals were called heartstones. They were not just decorative. They were actual organs. They pumped energy through their bodies instead of blood. Each Valarii had one. And the color showed things: emotions, health, status. Tae-sung pulled out his tablet and opened his scanning app. He always kept it running during work. It measured energy signatures, radiation levels, heat patterns, all the invisible things that could cause problems in space stations. He glanced at the data from the last few minutes. There. A spike in exotic energy, right when Lyra was standing close to him. The signature was coming from her direction, from her chest area. Interesting. He made a note to monitor it. Probably nothing. But in space, nothing could kill you. Better to be careful. The next morning, Tae-sung arrived at 0530. He wanted to be early. Show that humans were serious about work. Lyra was already there. "Good. You are early," she said. Her crystal was bright blue again. "We start with diagnostics. You will handle the human systems. I will monitor Valarii components." They worked in silence for the first hour. Tae-sung ran his tests. Everything looked normal. The power core was old but stable. The upgrade would add new human-designed fusion cells, more efficient, less waste. It was good technology. But his tablet kept beeping, soft alerts. The exotic energy reading was back, stronger this time. He looked up. Lyra was working at a console across the room, about 20 feet away, and the reading was definitely coming from her direction. He tried to focus on his work, but the engineer in him was curious. What could cause that kind of energy signature? It was not radiation, not electromagnetic, something else. He looked up again. Lyra's back was to him. The crystal was visible between her shoulder blades. Wait. She had two crystals. No. The one in back was smaller, maybe a secondary organ. His eyes went back to his tablet. The energy reading pulsed in waves, almost like a heartbeat, but irregular, like it was stuttering. Is there a problem? Lyra's voice made him jump. She had turned around. She was staring at him. Her golden eyes were sharp. No problem. Just checking the readings, he said quickly. You keep looking at your device, then looking at me. Is something wrong with the equipment? Everything is fine. The core looks good. Lyra walked closer. Human Tae-sung. I told you. We value directness. If you see an issue, report it. Tae-sung felt his face get hot. How could he explain? He was picking up weird energy from her body. That sounded crazy, or rude, or both. I am just being thorough, he said, making sure all systems are stable. Lyra studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Acceptable. Thoroughness is good. She went back to her console. Tae-sung let out a quiet breath. That was close. He needed to be more careful. Stop staring at his tablet so much. But over the next 3 days, the readings got stronger, and he could not help himself. Every time Lyra was near, he checked his tablet, and every time he checked his tablet, his eyes went to her chest, to that glowing crystal, trying to match the data with what he saw. He noticed other things, too. The crystal's light was a little dimmer than it was on the first day. The blue had a gray tint to it, and sometimes, just for a second, it flickered. Something was wrong. He was sure of it now. But how could he tell her? They barely knew each other, and he was supposed to be working on the power core, not scanning her body. On the 4th day, Lyra did not show up on time. That was unusual. She was always early. Tae-sung started his work alone. Maybe she was sick. Did Valari get sick? She arrived 30 minutes late. Her crystal was definitely dimmer now. Apologies for the delay, she said. Her voice sounded tired. No problem. Are you feeling okay? The words came out before he could stop them. Lyra's crystal flashed orange. I am fine. We continue the work. But she was not fine. Tae-sung could see it, and his tablet confirmed it. The energy readings were chaotic now. Something was very wrong with her heartstone. He had to say something. But what? And how? He looked at her working at the console. Her movements were slower than before, less precise. Tomorrow. He would say something tomorrow. He would find the right words. He had to, because if that crystal was failing, she might be dying. And she did not even know it. Tae-sung was calibrating the fusion cell connections when Lyra slammed her hand on the workbench. The sound echoed through the engineering bay like a gunshot. He jumped back, dropping his tools. Enough! Lyra's voice was sharp and angry. Her crystal burned red, bright, angry red. What? Tae-sung stammered. Do not play ignorant with me, human. She stepped closer. Even though she looked tired, she was still intimidating. Her height, her armor-like skin, the way she moved like a predator. I have been patient. I have ignored your strange behavior. But this ends now. Tae-sung's heart was racing. I do not understand. What did I do? Why do you keep staring at my chest, human? The words came out like an accusation, like a challenge. The engineering bay suddenly felt very small. Taesung's mouth opened, closed, opened again. No words came out. His brain had stopped working. All he could think was that this looked very, very bad. I was not, I was looking at, he pointed at his tablet. His hand was shaking. At your device, yes. And then at my heartstone, over and over, for 7 days. Lyra's crystal pulsed with red light. In Velari culture, staring at someone's heartstone is a challenge, a declaration of combat intent. Are you challenging me, human? No, I would never. Taesung took a step back. He bumped into the workbench. Or perhaps this is human mating behavior. Is that what this is? Lyra's voice was cold. I have heard humans are primitive in their social customs, that they stare at body parts they find attractive. That is not... I was not... Taesung felt like his face was on fire. This was a nightmare. Please, let me explain. My scanner was detecting... His translator device chose that exact moment to malfunction. It let out a high-pitched screech, then went silent. The small device on his collar sparked once and died. Perfect. Just perfect. Lyra's eyes narrowed. You will report to Commander Vel with me now. This behavior is unacceptable. She turned and walked toward the door. Taesung stood frozen. His legs did not want to move. This could not be happening. He was going to be sent back to Earth in disgrace. Korea's first engineer on a major alien project, and he was being accused of harassment or challenging an alien to a fight. He was not even sure which was worse. Move, human! Lyra's voice snapped him out of his paralysis. He followed her through the corridors of the station. Other aliens stopped to watch. They whispered to each other. Word traveled fast in space. By dinner time, everyone would know. The human who stared at the Velari officer's chest. He wanted to disappear. Commander Vel's office was large and cold. The Velari commander was even taller than Lyra. His heartstone was deep purple and sat behind thick armor plating, a warrior's crystal, decorated with scars. Officer Lyra, explain, Vel said. His voice sounded like grinding rocks. Lyra stood at attention. Commander, I formally file a complaint against human engineer Taesung. For 7 days, he has engaged in inappropriate behavior, repeated staring at my heartstone, possibly a challenge, possibly harassment. He has made our work environment hostile. Vel's eyes turned to Taesung. Human, what do you say to this accusation? Taesung tried to speak, but his translator was still broken. He tapped it desperately. Nothing. He pulled out his tablet and started typing, but the stress made his fingers clumsy. He kept hitting the wrong letters. He remained silent, Lyra said. Further proof of his guilt. I am not guilty, Taesung finally managed to shout, without the translator, his raw voice in Korean. My translator is broken. I was trying to help. I detected a problem, an energy problem, in her crystal. I was worried. I am an engineer. I notice problems. That is my job. Of course, nobody understood him. They just stared. Vel made a gesture. Bring a translator device. We will hear the human's defense. 10 minutes later, with a working translator, Taesung tried again. He explained about the energy readings, about the irregular pulses, about how he noticed the crystal getting dimmer. He showed them his tablet data, charts and graphs and numbers. Vel looked at the data. This proves nothing. These readings could be normal Velari biology. You are not a doctor. You are an engineer. But the pattern is wrong, Taesung insisted. It is not stable. It is degrading. I have worked with energy systems my whole life. This signature is failing. Enough, Vel said. Officer Lyra, have you experienced any health issues? No, Commander, Lyra said firmly. Her crystal was still red. There, you see? You have insulted Officer Lyra with your assumptions, and your inappropriate staring has created a diplomatic incident. Vel's expression was stern. I am assigning a mediator to investigate. Until then, You are removed from the engineering project. Dismissed. Outside the office, Tae-sung leaned against the wall. His legs felt weak. He had tried to help, and now everything was ruined. His career, his country's reputation, everything. His communicator buzzed. It was Hyun-woo, another Korean engineer on the station. Tae-sung, I heard what happened. Are you okay? Everyone is talking about it. I am fine, Tae-sung lied. Ji-woo and I are coming to your quarters. We will bring food. You should not be alone. 20 minutes later, they were all sitting in Tae-sung's small room. Hyun-woo had brought instant ramyeon from Earth. Ji-woo brought rice cakes, comfort food, but Tae-sung could barely eat. I was just trying to help, he said quietly. I saw a problem. I should have said something earlier, but I did not know how. Ji-woo nodded. She was a biomedical engineer, smart and direct. You were scared of being wrong or being rude, I understand. But Tae-sung, why did you not ask one of us? We could have helped you figure out how to approach her. I thought I had more time, he said. I thought I could gather more data first. Be sure before I said anything. Hyun-woo slurped his noodles. Well, now you have a mediator investigating you. What species are they sending? Quellan, I think. 4 arms. They are supposed to be fair. That is good. Quellans are logical. They will look at the evidence. Ji-woo pulled up something on her tablet. Look, I found the mediator's file. Name is Rix. Worked on 73 disputes. Resolved 68 successfully. Those are good numbers. Tae-sung wanted to feel hopeful, but all he could think about was Lyra's crystal, that dim, flickering light, the chaotic energy patterns. What if he was right? What if she was sick? And what if his silence killed her? I need to talk to the mediator as soon as possible, Tae-sung said. I need to show them the data, make them understand. Tomorrow, Hyun-woo said. Get some rest first. You look terrible. But Tae-sung did not sleep that night. He lay in his bunk, staring at the ceiling. The station's artificial gravity hummed around him. He thought about the crystal, the energy readings, the way Lyra's movements had slowed down over the week. He had to be right. He had to be. Because if he was wrong, he was just a creep who stared at an alien woman's chest. But if he was right, he might save her life. The next morning, a message appeared on his communicator. The mediator would meet with him at 1400 hours. He had 6 hours to prepare. 6 hours to organize all his evidence, to find a way to make them believe him. He pulled up all his scans, every single reading from the past 7 days. He organized them by date, by intensity, by pattern. He created graphs, comparison charts. He even found old research papers about Valari Heartstone biology from the station's database. When 1400 hours came, he was ready. Or at least he hoped he was. The mediator's office was neutral territory. White walls, soft lighting. 2 chairs facing each other across a simple table. Rick sat in one chair. 4 arms folded in different positions, 2 on the armrests, 1 holding a tablet, 1 gesturing as they spoke. Engineer Tae-sung, please sit. Rix's voice was gentle, not male or female, somewhere in between. I am here to understand what happened, not to judge. Not yet. Tae-sung sat down. He placed his tablet on the table. Thank you for meeting with me. I have read Officer Lyra's complaint. I have read Commander Vell's report. Now I want to hear your story. In your own words. Start from the beginning. So Tae-sung told them everything. The first day, the energy readings, how he noticed the patterns, how he tried to gather more data before saying anything, how his translator broke at the worst possible moment. Rix listened without interrupting. Their 4 eyes blinked at different times. It was a little distracting, but their attention never wavered. When Tae-sung finished, Rix leaned forward. Show me these readings. Explain them to me like I am not an engineer, because I am not. Tae-sung opened his tablet. He pulled up the first scan. This is day 1. See this wave pattern? That is Lyra's heartstone, the energy signature it creates. Now look at day 7. He swiped to another graph. The amplitude is lower. The frequency is irregular. And there are these gaps, see? The energy drops to almost nothing, then spikes back up. And this is abnormal? Rix asked. Very abnormal. Energy systems should be stable. When they start showing this pattern, it means failure is coming. I have seen it in fusion reactors, in antimatter containment. The pattern is always the same before something breaks. Rix made a note on their tablet. But you are not a medical expert. How do you know this applies to living tissue? I do not know for certain, Tae-sung admitted, but energy is energy. Physics does not change just because something is alive. If her heartstone is an energy organ, then it should follow energy physics. Interesting logic. Rick stood up. Wait here. I need to make some calls. They left the room. Tae-sung waited. 20 minutes. 30. His leg bounced up and down nervously. What were they doing? Who were they calling? Finally, Rix returned. I spoke with Valari medical staff. They reviewed their scans of Officer Lyra. According to their records, she is healthy. Her heartstone shows no signs of degradation. Tae-sung's heart sank. But my readings are not medical scans. They are engineering scans, different tools, different results. Rick sat down again. However, I also spoke with a Valari doctor who specializes in heartstone diseases. She found your data interesting. She said Valari medical scanners look at biological markers, blood chemistry, cell structure. They do not measure quantum energy signatures. Quantum? Tae-sung blinked. Yes, your scanner operates on a different principle than Valari medical equipment. It detected something their tools cannot see. Rix tapped their tablet. The doctor wants to run new tests on Officer Lyra. Tests that look at quantum energy levels. But there is a problem. What problem? Officer Lyra refuses. She says she is fine. She says the tests are unnecessary. She believes you are making false accusations to cover up your inappropriate behavior. Tae-sung put his head in his hands. How do I convince her? How do I make her understand? That is not your job anymore, Rick said gently. That is mine. I will speak with her. I will present the evidence. I will recommend the tests. But Tae-sung, you need to understand something. Even if you are right about the medical problem, you still made mistakes. I know. I should have spoken up sooner. Yes. But more than that, you did not consider how your behavior looked to her. In Valari culture, staring at someone's heartstone is aggressive. You did not learn this before working with her, and when she confronted you, you could not explain because you rely too much on technology, your translator, your tablet. What if they fail again? Tae-sung nodded slowly. Rix was right. He had been so focused on the technical problem that he forgot about the person. I will speak with Officer Lyra today, Rix continued. Regardless of the outcome, you both need cultural training. The station offers classes. I recommend you attend. I will. Thank you. After leaving the mediator's office, Tae-sung went to the station's observation deck. He needed to think. The deck was mostly empty, just a few aliens looking out at the stars. He found a quiet corner and sat down. Earth was out there somewhere, too far to see. He thought about home, about his grandmother who raised him after his parents died. She always said, do not just see the problem, see the person who has the problem. He had failed at that. He saw Lyra's crystal as a broken machine, not as part of a living person, a person with feelings, with culture, with pride. His communicator buzzed. It was Ji Woo. Tae-sung, where are you? I have news. Observation deck. What news? Come to my lab. You need to see this. He found Ji Woo in her medical research lab. She was staring at her computer screen. Her eyes were wide. "What is it?" he asked. "I got curious after your investigation started. So I did some research on Valari heartstone degradation. Look at this." She pulled up an old medical journal. "This article is from 60 years ago, about Valari soldiers exposed to exotic radiation during a war. The radiation damaged their heartstones at the quantum level, but standard medical scans did not detect it. The soldiers seemed fine, until they started dying 6 months later." Tae-sung felt cold. Dying? Their heartstones collapsed. Sudden failure. No warning. Ji-woo scrolled through the article. "It says here that the only way to detect quantum-level damage is with specialized equipment. Equipment that measures energy signatures at extremely fine resolution, like, for example, advanced engineering scanners." "Like mine," Tae-sung whispered. "Exactly like yours." Tae-sung, if Lyra was exposed to this kind of radiation, she could die, and she would not even know it until it was too late. Where would she be exposed to exotic radiation? "We are on a space station. There are safety protocols." Ji-woo shrugged. "Military operation? Deep space exploration? There are lots of places. But the point is, your readings match the patterns in this research. Almost exactly." Tae-sung grabbed his communicator. "I need to tell Rix. This is evidence. Real evidence." He sent the journal article to Rix immediately. Then he waited. 1 hour, 2 hours. Finally, a response came. "Received your information. This is significant. I am meeting with Commander Vel and Officer Lyra now. Will contact you soon." Tae-sung went back to his quarters. Hyun-woo was there, installing a new translator for him. "Here. Latest model. Should not break unless you drop it in acid or something." "Thanks," Tae-sung said. But his mind was elsewhere. "You okay?" Hyun-woo asked. "I just want her to be okay, even if she hates me, even if I get sent home. I just want her to be okay." Hyun-woo patted his shoulder. "You are a good person, Tae-sung. Maybe too good. You worry too much about others and not enough about yourself." Late that night, another message came from Rix. "Officer Lyra has agreed to quantum energy testing. Results will take 2 days. You are still suspended from the engineering project, but I am recommending your complaint file be marked as under review instead of violation confirmed. This means you are not officially guilty. Yet." It was something. Not much, but something. Tae-sung lay in his bunk and tried to sleep. He kept seeing that crystal in his mind, the dim, flickering light. He had done everything he could. Now it was up to the doctors. 2 days felt like 2 years. He spent the time attending cultural training classes, learning about Valari customs, about heartstones and honor and direct communication. He learned that Valari society was built on warrior traditions, that showing weakness was shameful, that asking for help was seen as failure. He began to understand why Lyra was angry, not just because he stared, but because he saw something she might have been hiding, even from herself. On the 3rd day, Rix called him to their office again. Lyra was already there. She did not look at him. Her crystal was gray, not red, not blue, just gray. "The tests came back," Rix said quietly. Tae-sung. "You were right." The silence in the mediator's office was heavy. Lyra stood like a statue. Her crystal pulsed gray, weak, fading. "Officer Lyra has quantum-level degradation in her heartstone," Rix continued. "The damage is extensive. Valari doctors estimate she has 4 to 6 weeks before critical failure." 4 to 6 weeks. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Tae-sung looked at Lyra. She still would not meet his eyes. Her jaw was tight. Her hands were clenched into fists. She was trying to look strong, but he could see the truth. She was terrified. "What are the treatment options?" Tae-sung asked. "There are none," Lyra said. Her voice was flat, empty. "This type of damage cannot be repaired, not with current Valari medical technology. The doctor was very clear. I am dying. There has to be something, Tae-sung started. There is nothing. Lyra's crystal flashed red for just a moment, then back to gray. I will die with honor. I will complete my duties. I will not show weakness. That is the Valarii way. Rix folded two of their arms. Officer Lyra, there may be another option, but you will not like it. Speak plainly. Human medical technology. It is different from Valarii medicine. Humans approach biological problems like engineering problems. They use machines and computers in ways we do not. Perhaps they can see a solution we cannot. Lyra laughed. It was a bitter sound. You want me to trust the species that caused this problem? The human who stared at me for days? I did not cause... Tae-sung bit back his words. This was not the time to defend himself. Officer Lyra, I understand you are angry. You have every right to be, but please, let me try to help. Let me look at the data. Maybe I can find something. Why? Lyra turned to him finally. Her golden eyes were hard. Why do you care if I live or die? You do not know me. I accused you of terrible things. I could have destroyed your career. Why would you help me? Tae-sung thought about his grandmother, about seeing the person, not just the problem. Because it is the right thing to do. Because I am an engineer, and engineers fix broken things. And because... He hesitated. Because nobody deserves to die alone and scared. Not even someone who accused me of being a creep. Something shifted in Lyra's expression. Not quite a smile, but the hardness in her eyes softened. Just a little. Fine, she said. Look at your data. Waste your time. But do not expect miracles. The best Valarii doctors already said it is impossible. Rix nodded. I will arrange for you both to work together, in a medical lab, with proper supervision. And Tae-sung, do not make me regret giving you this chance. Back in his quarters, Tae-sung pulled up everything. Medical scans, energy readings, the old journal article Ji-woo found. He read for hours. His eyes burned. His head hurt. But he kept reading. The problem was clear. Lyra's heartstone was like a battery that was breaking down at the atomic level. The quantum bonds that held it together were falling apart. As they broke, the crystal lost its ability to store and transfer energy. Eventually, it would shatter, and she would die. Valarii medicine tried to fix it with drugs and biological treatments, but those only worked on the surface. The damage was too deep, too fundamental. Humans would approach it differently. Humans would use machines. An idea began to form in his mind. It was crazy, probably impossible, but it was something. He called Ji-woo. I need your help, and I need Hyun-woo too. Can you both come to my quarters? 20 minutes later, they were all crowded around his desk. Tae-sung explained his idea. What if we do not try to repair the crystal? What if we stabilize it instead? Use an external device to hold the quantum structure together. Like a brace? Ji-woo asked. For a broken bone? Exactly, but for quantum particles. We would need to create a resonance field, something that matches her crystal's natural frequency and reinforces it, keeps it from breaking down further. Hyun-woo frowned. Do we even have technology that can do that? Maybe neural interfaces, the ones we use for deep space navigation. They work by connecting human brain waves to ship computers. They create resonance between biological and mechanical systems. If we modify one, we might be able to create resonance between the interface and her crystal. Ji-woo pulled up schematics on her tablet. Neural interfaces are designed for human biology. Valarii physiology is completely different. The crystal runs on exotic energy, not neural electricity. The frequencies would not match. Unless we build a converter, Ta-sung said. Something that translates between the two types of energy, it would be like a translator for physics. They all sat in silence for a moment. Then Hyun-woo started laughing. You want to build a universal translator for quantum mechanics, and then stick it inside an alien's chest? Tae-sung, that is insane. Yes, completely insane. But do you have a better idea? No, Hyun-woo admitted. But I like it. It is crazy enough to maybe work. Ji-woo was already making notes. We would need approval from Valari medical staff, and we would need Lyra's consent, and we would need to build this device in less than 6 weeks, with no budget, and no guarantee it will work. So you are saying it is possible. Tae-sung felt hope for the first time in days. I am saying it is technically possible. Barely. Ji-woo looked up from her tablet. But Tae-sung, if this fails, she dies. And if it fails because we made a mistake, that is on us. Are you ready for that responsibility? He thought about Lyra. About her gray crystal. About how she tried to look strong even when she was falling apart inside. Yes, I am ready. The next day, they presented the idea to Rix and Commander Vel, and to Lyra. The Valari commander's crystal burned orange, skeptical. You want to insert a human machine into one of my officers? This is madness. It is our only option, Tae-sung said. Unless you have Valari technology that can work at the quantum level? Vel said nothing. He did not. Nobody did. The procedure would be experimental, Ji-woo added. We have never tested this on Valari physiology. There are risks, but the alternative is certain death. All eyes turned to Lyra. She sat perfectly still, her crystal barely glowing. Explain the risks, she said quietly. Tae-sung laid it out honestly. The device might not work. Your body might reject it. The resonance field might damage your crystal further instead of stabilizing it. You could die on the operating table. Or you could die days after the procedure, or... He paused. It might work. You might live. What are the odds? Lyra asked. I do not know. 50-50, maybe less? This has never been done before. Lyra closed her eyes. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Finally, she opened them again. If I do nothing, I die in 4 weeks, correct? Correct, Ji-woo confirmed. And if I try this, I might die sooner. But I also might live. Yes, Lyra stood up. Then I choose to try, I choose to fight, even if the fight is letting humans put a machine in my chest. She looked directly at Tae-sung. But I have one condition. Name it. If I die during this procedure, I want my death recorded as honorable. I want it known that I fought until the end, that I trusted you, even after everything. Can you promise me that? Tae-sung's throat felt tight. I promise. But you are not going to die. We will not let you. Bold words from someone who stares at chests, Lyra said. But there was a tiny hint of humor in her voice, the first he had ever heard from her. Commander Vel stood up. I will approve this procedure, but if Officer Lyra dies because of human incompetence, there will be consequences, severe consequences. Understood, Commander, Tae-sung said. After the meeting, Lyra stopped Tae-sung in the hallway. Human, Tae-sung, I need to say something. He waited. I was wrong to accuse you. I was angry because I suspected something was wrong with my crystal, but I did not want to admit it. Admitting weakness is... She struggled with the words. It is shameful in our culture. So when you noticed what I was trying to hide, I attacked you instead of thanking you. That was wrong. I am sorry. It was the last thing he expected. You do not need to apologize. You were scared. Fear is no excuse for cruelty. Lyra's crystal pulsed a soft blue, sad, but sincere. If your procedure works, I will owe you my life, and I pay my debts. Just focus on staying alive, Tae-sung said. That is payment enough. They had 5 weeks to build a miracle, starting now. The medical lab became their home for the next 4 weeks. Tae-sung, Hyun-woo, and Ji-woo worked 16-hour days, sometimes 20. Sleep happened in short bursts between calculations and tests. Building the resonance stabilizer was like trying to solve 3 impossible puzzles at once. First, they had to understand exactly how Lyra's crystal worked, not just the basic biology, but the quantum mechanics underneath. Every particle, every energy wave. Ji-Woo worked with Valari doctors to map the crystal's structure. She ran scan after scan. "It is beautiful," she said one night, staring at the holographic display. "The way energy flows through the crystal lattice, like water through tree roots. But the roots are breaking. See these dark spots? Those are quantum fractures." Second, they had to build a device small enough to implant near the crystal, but powerful enough to generate a stabilizing field. Hyun Woo handled the engineering. He modified a neural interface, stripping out the parts meant for human brains, adding new components for energy conversion. "This is like building a car out of bicycle parts," he complained. But his hands never stopped moving, soldering, adjusting, testing. Third, they had to program the device to match Lyra's specific quantum signature. No 2 Valari crystals were exactly alike. The resonance field had to be perfectly tuned. Even a tiny error could make things worse. Tae-sung wrote the code, lines and lines of programming, algorithms that predicted quantum behavior, feedback loops that adjusted in real time. He tested it 1,000 times in simulations. The device worked, usually. 70% success rate in the computer models. 70% was not good enough. Lyra visited the lab every day. She watched them work. Her crystal grew dimmer each time. By week 3, it barely glowed at all. She moved slower, spoke less. The degradation was accelerating. "How much longer?" she asked one evening. Her voice was weak. "Soon," Tae-sung said. "We are almost ready." "I do not have much time left." She sat down carefully in a chair. "The doctors say maybe 10 days, maybe less. I can feel it, like my heart is turning to stone, heavy, cold." Ji-Woo looked up from her work. "We will be ready in 5 days, I promise." "And if the device fails?" Lyra asked. "Then we try again," Tae-sung said. But they all knew the truth. There would be no second chance. Her body was too weak. On day 26, they finished the device. It was small, about the size of a coin, silver and black. It looked almost boring, but inside were components that pushed the boundaries of human technology. Quantum processors, energy converters, neural link interfaces adapted for alien biology. "This is it," Hyun-Woo said, holding it up to the light. "Either this saves her, or we become the humans who killed a Valari officer with experimental technology." "Do not say that," Ji-Woo snapped. "We are going to save her." The next day, they met with the surgical team, Valari doctors, human medical staff. Even Commander Vel attended the briefing, and Lyra, looking smaller than Tae-sung had ever seen her. The head surgeon, a Valari named Kes, reviewed the procedure. "We will open the chest cavity, expose the heart stone. Human Ji-Woo will implant the device at the crystal's base. The device will activate and begin generating the resonance field. If successful, the crystal should stabilize within minutes. If unsuccessful..." Kes did not finish the sentence. "How long will the surgery take?" Commander Vel asked. 4 to 6 hours. It is delicate work. One mistake and the crystal could shatter." Vel turned to Lyra. "Are you certain about this?" "I am certain I do not want to die in my sleep, Commander. I would rather die trying to live." Lyra's crystal flickered weakly. "And if I die on that table, at least I will die knowing someone cared enough to try." The surgery was scheduled for the next morning. That night, Tae-sung could not sleep. He went to the observation deck again, stared at the stars, thought about everything that led to this moment. If his translator had not broken, would things be different? If he had spoken up sooner? If he had never noticed the energy readings at all? "You are thinking too much," a voice said behind him. He turned. Lyra stood there in a medical gown. She looked fragile, almost transparent. Her crystal was barely a flicker now. "You should be resting," Tae-sung said. "I cannot sleep. Too many thoughts." She walked over and sat beside him. They looked out at space together. "Do you believe in anything after death, human?" I am not sure. My grandmother believed in heaven. She said everyone who lived a good life went there. Do Valari believe in an afterlife? We believe our energy returns to the universe, that we become part of the stars." Lyra smiled faintly. "I always thought that sounded lonely. Floating in space forever. But tonight, looking at the stars, it does not seem so bad." "You are not going to die tomorrow," Tae-sung said firmly. "The device will work. You will live." "You cannot know that." "No, but I believe it." "I have to believe it." They sat in silence for a while. Then Lyra spoke again. "If I survive this, things will be different between our peoples. You understand that, yes? You will have saved a Valari officer's life with human technology. That means something. That changes things. I just want you to live. Politics can wait." "Politics never wait." But Lyra sounded amused. "You are strange, Tae-sung. For a human. For anyone. You care too much. It will cause you pain." "Caring is not weakness," he said. "No, I am learning that. Slowly." She stood up. Her movements were shaky. "I should return to medical. They want to run more tests before surgery. Will you be there tomorrow, during the procedure?" "If you want me to be." "I do. You started this. You should see it through." The surgery began at 0600 station time. Tae-sung watched from an observation room above the operating theater. Hyun-woo and Ji-woo were with him. They held hands without realizing it. 3 humans watching their device try to save an alien life. Lyra was sedated. Her body looked small on the table, surrounded by machines and doctors. Kes made the first incision with a laser scalpel. Precise. Careful. The chest cavity opened, and there was the crystal. Even dying, it was beautiful. A geometric structure of light and stone. But the light was so dim now, like a candle about to go out. Ji-woo stepped forward. She wore a full surgical suit. Her hands were steady. She had practiced this 100 times on simulated models. But this was real. This was life and death. She positioned the device at the crystal's base, checked the placement, checked again. Then activated the neural link. The device glowed, soft blue light. It began to hum, a high-pitched sound that made Tae-sung's teeth ache. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. The crystal stayed dim, flickering, dying. Then, something changed. The device's hum shifted, found a frequency. The crystal responded. It pulsed. Once. Twice. The light grew stronger. "Resonance achieved," Kes announced. "The field is stabilizing the quantum structure. Heartstone energy levels rising. This is working." In the observation room, Hyun-woo let out a breath he had been holding. "It is working. Tae-sung, it is actually working." But Tae-sung did not celebrate. Not yet. They were only 10 minutes into a 6-hour surgery. Anything could still go wrong. An hour passed. The crystal continued to stabilize, growing brighter. The dark spots, the quantum fractures, began to seal. Slowly. So slowly. 2 hours. 3. The device adjusted its resonance field constantly, responding to tiny changes in the crystal's structure. The programming Tae-sung wrote was working, adapting, learning. At hour 4, something unexpected happened. "We are detecting a neural feedback," one of the human doctors said. "The device is creating a connection between the crystal and someone outside the operating room, someone in the observation area." "What?" Ji-woo looked up, confused. "The neural interface is designed to link with brain activity. It is supposed to be dormant, but it is active, and it is connecting to... The doctor checked her instruments. To Tae-sung. It is connecting to Tae-sung's neural patterns. Before anyone could respond, Tae-sung felt it. A rush of sensation. Not his own, someone else's, memories that were not his memories. He was flying through space. No ship, just him. No, not him. Lyra. These were Lyra's memories. He saw a battle. Valari ships fighting unknown enemies. Explosions, screaming. Lyra's squadron was trapped. No escape. She made a choice. Flew her ship into the enemy formation, drew their fire. Her shields failed. Radiation flooded her cockpit. Pain, terrible pain, but her squadron escaped. They all escaped because of her. She never reported the radiation exposure, never told anyone she was hurt. Because that would mean she could not fight anymore. Could not serve. And service was everything. The memory faded. Tae-sung gasped. He was back in the observation room. His friends were staring at him. "What just happened?" Hyun-woo asked. I felt... Tae-sung could not find the words. I understand now. Why she hid the damage. Why she was so angry when I noticed. It was not about me. It was about her. About what she thinks a warrior should be. The surgery continued. 6 hours. Then 7. Finally, Kes stepped back. The procedure is complete. The heartstone is stable. All quantum fractures are sealed or healing. Officer Lyra should make a full recovery. The observation room erupted in cheers. Hyun-woo and Ji-woo hugged each other, then hugged Tae-sung. All three of them were crying and laughing at the same time. They had done it, against all odds. They had built a miracle. Lyra woke up 3 days after the surgery. Her first words were, "Did it work?" Tae-sung was sitting beside her bed. He had barely left the medical bay. "Yes, it worked. Your crystal is stable. You are going to live." She closed her eyes. A single tear rolled down her cheek. Valari could cry. He had not known that. "I felt you," she said quietly. "During the surgery, in my memories. You saw what happened, the battle, the radiation. I did not mean to intrude. The device created a link. I could not control it. I know. And I am glad you saw, glad someone knows the truth." Lyra opened her eyes. Her crystal glowed a soft, healthy blue, brighter than it had been in weeks. Keeping secrets was killing me, in more ways than one. Over the next few days, Lyra recovered quickly. Valari biology was resilient. The device in her chest hummed softly, constantly generating the resonance field that kept her crystal stable. It would need to stay there permanently, a part of her now, forever. "I am a hybrid," she said one afternoon. "Part Valari, part human technology. What does that make me?" "Alive," Tae-sung said simply. "It makes you alive." Kes, the Valari surgeon, came to check on her progress. "The device is functioning perfectly, better than we expected. The crystal is not just stable, it is healing. The quantum fractures are closing completely. In a few months, you may not need the device anymore." "May not?" Lyra asked. "The damage was extensive. We cannot be certain, but human technology has given your body a chance to repair itself. That is more than we could offer." Kes nodded to Tae-sung. "You should be proud, human. This procedure will change Valari medicine." After Kes left, Lyra gestured for Tae-sung to sit. "We need to talk. About what happened. About what I said to you." The accusation. "You already apologized. We do not need to—" "Let me finish." Lyra's voice was firm, but not unkind. In Valari culture, staring at someone's heartstone is aggressive. It implies you see weakness in them, or that you want to challenge them. When you kept looking at my chest, my instincts told me you were threatening me. I did not know. I should have learned your customs before we worked together. Yes, you should have. But I also should have asked why you were doing it. Instead, I assumed the worst. I judged you based on my culture, not yours." Lyra touched the device on her chest through her medical gown. My people value strength and honor. We do not like to show vulnerability. When you noticed something was wrong with me, it felt like you were exposing a weakness I was trying to hide. So I attacked you. You were protecting yourself, I understand. Understanding is not enough. I want to explain our culture to you, properly, and I want to learn about human culture, about Korean culture specifically. Because if we are going to work together, and I hope we will, we need to understand each other. So they talked, for hours, over the next few weeks. Lyra explained how Valari Heartstones worked, how they showed emotions through color. Blue for calm, red for anger, orange for caution, green for curiosity, gray for illness or deep sadness. How Valari greet each other by touching heartstones briefly. How displaying your crystal is a sign of trust. How covering it means you are hiding something. When I was a soldier, Lyra said, I wore armor that covered my crystal completely. In battle, you cannot show your emotions. Your enemy will use them against you. But here, on a peaceful station, most Valari leave their crystals exposed. It is a sign we trust our surroundings. Tae-sung shared human customs in return. How eye contact was important in some cultures, but rude in others. How Koreans valued something called nunchi, the ability to read a room's atmosphere and adjust your behavior accordingly. It is about being aware of others' feelings, he explained, knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet, when someone needs help but is too proud to ask. It is like sensing the invisible currents in a social situation. That sounds exhausting, Lyra said. It can be, but it helps prevent conflict. It builds harmony. Harmony, Lyra repeated. That is very human. Valari prefer clarity. We say what we think. We do what we say. There is honor in directness. But sometimes directness hurts people. Sometimes you need to be gentle. And sometimes being gentle means problems do not get solved. Like me not reporting my radiation exposure. I was being gentle with myself, pretending everything was fine, and I almost died because of it. They both had points. They both had blind spots. News of the successful surgery spread through the station, then beyond. Other Valari who had served in military operations started coming forward, admitting they had been exposed to exotic radiation, asking for help. It turned out Lyra was not alone. Dozens of Valari veterans had hidden damage to their heartstones, too proud to admit weakness, too afraid of being declared unfit for service. Commander Vel called a meeting with Tae-sung, Ji-woo, and Hyun-woo. We have a crisis. 17 Valari officers on this station alone need treatment, and intelligence reports suggest hundreds more throughout the Empire. Can you help them? We can build more devices, Ji-woo said, but we need resources, materials, medical staff, and time. Each device must be customized for the individual crystal. You will have whatever you need. The Valari Empire is in your debt. Vel's crystal glowed purple with sincerity. This technology you created, the resonance stabilizer, you could make a fortune selling it, but you choose to help instead. Why? Because it is the right thing to do, Tae-sung said. And because medical care should not be about profit. It should be about saving lives. Vel studied him for a long moment. Humans are strange, but perhaps that is not a bad thing. Over the next 2 months, they worked non-stop. Building devices, training other doctors in the procedure. Each surgery was different. Each crystal had unique damage patterns. But the success rate was high, 93% survival. Lives saved because Tae-sung had noticed something wrong and refused to stay quiet. Lyra helped coordinate the effort. She spoke with other veterans, convinced them to come forward, to admit they needed help. There is no honor in dying silently, she told them. True honor is accepting help when you need it and offering help when others need you. Coming from her, a decorated war hero, those words carried weight. One evening, Lyra found Taesung in the engineering bay. He was back to working on the power core, the original project, the one they started before everything changed. "You look tired," she said. "I am tired, but happy." "We saved a lot of people." "We did." Lyra sat down beside him. "I have been thinking about what you said when I accused you. You asked why I kept staring at your chest. Do you remember your answer?" "I said I was detecting an energy problem," which was true. "No, before that, before your translator broke, you said you were trying to help, that you noticed something wrong and wanted to fix it." Lyra's crystal glowed soft blue. "That is what humans do, yes? You see problems and try to fix them, even when it costs you, even when others misunderstand your intentions." "I guess so. We are not special. We just do what we can." "That is what makes you special. You do not realize how rare it is." Lyra touched her chest, where the device hummed beneath her skin. Most species see outsiders as threats or competitors. But humans see potential friends, potential partners. You look for ways to work together instead of reasons to stay apart. "You are being too kind. Humans fight among themselves all the time. We have wars, prejudice, cruelty." "So do we. So do all species. But you also have this desire to help, to heal, to build bridges." Lyra stood up. "The Galactic Council is discussing your work. They want to create a new protocol, cultural training for all mixed species teams, to prevent misunderstandings like ours." "That is good. Maybe fewer people will be accused of staring at chests inappropriately." Lyra laughed. Actually laughed. "Maybe. But Taesung, I am glad you stared at my chest. I am glad you could not mind your own business, because your curiosity saved my life. And the lives of many others. So I am forgiven for being a creep?" "You were never a creep. Just an engineer who cared too much, which is exactly what I needed." She paused. "The Valari Empire wants to offer you a position, permanent medical liaison. You would work with our doctors to improve cross-species healthcare. The pay is excellent, and you would be saving lives every day." "I need to think about it," Taesung said. But he already knew his answer. This was bigger than just him. This was about building something new, something that helped everyone. "Think quickly," Lyra said with a smile. "The Empire is not known for its patience, unlike certain humans I know." After she left, Taesung looked out at the stars through the bay window. He thought about his grandmother, about her lessons on seeing people, not just problems. He had seen Lyra when she was hiding, seen her vulnerability, and instead of looking away, he tried to help. Maybe that was humanity's real gift, not technology or intelligence, but the willingness to see others, to care about strangers, to build bridges across impossible distances, and maybe, just maybe, that was enough to change the galaxy. Taesung accepted the position with the Valari Empire. He moved to a larger quarters on the station. Hyunwoo and Jiwoo stayed on as part of his team. Together, they trained doctors from 17 different species in the resonance stabilizer procedure. The technology spread across the galaxy, human innovations saving alien lives. The Galactic Council formally recognized their work. They called it the Harmony Initiative, a program dedicated to combining different species' medical knowledge, creating solutions that no single species could achieve alone. But the biggest change was the Harmony Protocol. Commander Vel himself proposed it, a mandatory cultural training program for all mixed-species teams working on council projects. The goal was simple: prevent misunderstandings before they became conflicts. Taesung helped design the curriculum. He remembered his own mistakes, his ignorance of Valari customs, how close he came to losing everything because he did not understand. The training covered basics, how different species communicated, what gestures meant in various cultures, how to ask for clarification without giving offense. It was not perfect. No program could cover every situation. But it was a start. Today was the official launch ceremony. Tae-sung stood backstage at the council's main auditorium. He wore his formal uniform, the Korea Space Engineering Corps logo on his chest, but next to it, a new badge, the Harmony Initiative symbol, a circle of different colored stars, all touching, all connected. Lyra stood beside him. Her crystal glowed bright blue, healthy, strong. The device in her chest had done its job so well that her body had healed around it. The quantum fractures were gone. She no longer needed the stabilizer, but she chose to keep it anyway. "It is a reminder," she had said, "of what I almost lost and what I gained." "Nervous?" she asked now. "Very," Tae-sung admitted. "I am not good at speeches. I prefer working with machines." "You will be fine. Just be yourself. Tell the truth. That is all anyone can ask." A council aide gestured. "You are on in 2 minutes." They walked to the stage entrance. Through the curtain, Tae-sung could see the auditorium. Thousands of seats, delegates from hundreds of worlds, all here for the same reason, to witness a new era of cooperation. "I still cannot believe this is happening," he said. 6 months ago, I was just an engineer. Now I am speaking at the Galactic Council." "You were never just an engineer," Lyra said. "You were someone who saw a problem and refused to ignore it. Someone who cared about a stranger enough to risk your career. That is leadership, Tae-sung, whether you realize it or not." The ceremony began. The council speaker, a tall crystalline being named Vorim, gave the opening remarks, talked about unity, about learning from each other, about how diversity made them stronger. Then it was Tae-sung's turn. He walked onto the stage. The lights were bright, too bright. He squinted. Thousands of eyes and eye equivalents stared at him. His heart pounded. His hands felt sweaty. But he thought about his grandmother, about doing the right thing even when it was hard. "Good afternoon," he began. His voice echoed through the hall. The translator system converted his words into hundreds of languages simultaneously. "My name is Tae-sung. I am an engineer from Earth, from Korea. And 6 months ago, I nearly caused a diplomatic incident because I did not understand Valari culture." Some beings in the audience shifted, whispered to each other. This was not the polished speech they expected. "I stared at my colleague's chest," Tae-sung continued. "Not because I was rude, not because I was inappropriate, but because I detected an energy anomaly. In her heartstone, I was trying to help. But I did not know that staring at a Valari's crystal is considered aggressive. I did not know I was insulting her. And she did not know I was trying to save her life." He paused. Let that sink in. We almost failed each other, not because we were bad people, but because we did not understand each other. And in space, misunderstandings can kill. They can end friendships before they begin. They can turn allies into enemies. He saw Lyra in the wings. She nodded encouragement. The Harmony Protocol exists to prevent what happened to us from happening to others. It teaches cultural awareness, communication strategies, how to ask questions when you are confused, how to assume good intentions first, not bad ones. Tae-sung looked out at the audience. This protocol will not solve everything. There will still be conflicts, still be mistakes. But maybe, if we try to understand each other first, we can turn those conflicts into opportunities, those mistakes into lessons. He stepped back from the podium. The hall was silent. Had he said too much? Been too honest? Then someone started clapping, a human in the front row, then a Valari, then more. The applause spread like a wave, beings from different worlds with different customs, all showing approval in their own ways. Some clapped, some made clicking sounds, some flashed lights from their bodies. Lyra took the stage next. She moved with the confidence of a warrior. but her words were gentle. "I was the one Tae-sung stared at," she said. "I was the one who accused him, who filed a formal complaint, who nearly destroyed his career because I was too proud to admit I needed help." Her crystal glowed orange. Regret, shame. In Valari culture, we value strength. We honor warriors. We teach our children that showing weakness is shameful. This belief almost killed me. I hid my illness because I did not want to appear weak. And when someone noticed what I was hiding, I attacked them instead of thanking them. She touched her chest, where the device used to be needed. Tae-sung saved my life. But he did more than that. He taught me that asking for help is not weakness. It is wisdom. He taught me that caring about others, even strangers, even people from different worlds, is not foolish. It is necessary. It is what makes civilizations survive. The audience was completely silent now, listening. When I woke up after surgery, I had a machine in my chest, human technology keeping me alive. Some Valari thought this was shameful, that I had been contaminated by alien devices. But I see it differently. Her crystal glowed green. Pride. I carry a piece of humanity with me always. A reminder that we are stronger together than apart. That no species has all the answers. That sometimes the best solution comes from combining different approaches. She looked directly at Tae-sung. The human asked me a question recently. Why do I trust his species so much? After everything that happened? I will tell you why. Lyra walked to the edge of the stage. Because when everyone else saw a decorated warrior, the humans saw someone who needed help, and they had the courage to look foolish trying to give it. They did not ask what they would gain. They did not demand payment. They just helped. Because that is what humans do. More applause. Louder this time. Tae-sung joined her at the center of the stage. Together, they presented the official Harmony Protocol documentation, a thick book of guidelines, case studies, training materials, years of work compressed into a single volume. This protocol will be implemented across all council facilities starting next month, Vorim announced. All mixed-species teams will receive training. All supervisors will be educated in cultural competency. And we will establish a Harmony Committee to handle disputes that arise from cultural misunderstandings. After the ceremony, there was a reception. Dignitaries from across the galaxy came to congratulate them, to ask questions, to share their own stories of cultural misunderstandings. A young Quellan approached Tae-sung. I am starting a research fellowship on a human space station next month. Do you have any advice? Yes, Tae-sung said. When you do not understand something, ask. Do not assume. Do not pretend to know, just ask. Most beings appreciate honesty, and if you make a mistake, apologize. Really apologize. Then try to learn from it. The Quellan nodded thoughtfully. What if I am afraid of seeming ignorant? Everyone is ignorant about something. The only real ignorance is refusing to learn. Tae-sung smiled. And remember, humans are usually very forgiving. We make so many mistakes ourselves that we understand when others do too. Later, Tae-sung and Lyra stood on an observation deck, the same one where Lyra had found him the night before her surgery. They looked out at the stars. What happens now? Tae-sung asked. Now we continue the work. Train more doctors. Save more lives. Maybe visit other worlds. Spread the program. Lyra's crystal pulsed softly. The Valari Empire wants us to tour military bases, talk to soldiers about recognizing radiation damage, about coming forward when something is wrong. Us? You want me to come with you? Of course. We are a team now. Partner, you understand human medicine. I understand Valari culture. Together we can reach people neither of us could reach alone. A team, Tae-sung repeated. He liked the sound of that. Besides, Lyra added with a hint of humor, someone needs to make sure you do not stare at anyone else's chest inappropriately. He laughed. I promise to be more careful, and to learn cultural customs before working with new species. Good. Because the next project involves the Zorathians. They have 3 chests. You would have to stare at all of them. They stood in comfortable silence. 2 beings from different worlds. Once strangers, then enemies, then colleagues, now friends. Tae-sung, Lyra said quietly. Thank you for not looking away, for not minding your own business, for being stubborn and foolish and caring. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for letting me help, for trusting me, for teaching me. He paused. And for the bravest thing anyone has ever done. What is that? Admitting you did not have all the answers. Admitting you needed help. That takes more courage than any battle. Lyra's crystal glowed the brightest blue he had ever seen. Not the blue of calm, the blue of deep, genuine happiness. They returned to work the next day. There were 17 new patients waiting, veterans with hidden crystal damage, all of them scared. All of them hoping for a miracle, and Tae-sung would give them one. Not because he was special, not because humans were better than other species, but because he had learned a simple truth. The universe was big, full of different beings with different ways of thinking, different cultures, different values, and that diversity was not a problem to solve. It was a resource to use, a strength to build on. When he looked at Lyra now, he did not see an alien. He saw a friend, a partner, someone who helped him become better than he was before. And when she looked at him, she saw the same thing. That was humanity's real gift to the galaxy, not technology, not innovation, but the simple, stubborn belief that differences could be bridges instead of walls, that strangers could become family, that looking at someone's chest, really looking, really seeing, could be the first step toward saving their life, and maybe, just maybe, toward saving everyone. The work continued. The friendships grew, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space, a Korean engineer and a Valari warrior proved that the most powerful force in the universe was not weapons or machines. It was caring enough to try, even when it looked foolish, even when others misunderstood, even when failure seemed certain. Caring was always worth it. Always. The end.